Sleepwalkers, released in 1992. This is gonna be one of the hardest reviews I've ever done because I can't stop laughing. This movie was so bad. It was so entertaining. Oh my god. But the movie is directed by Mick Garris, who has also directed such films like Critters 2: The Main Course, Riding the Bullet, and Nightmare Cinema. And this movie has an amazing, classically trained, Oscar-caliber cast of Brian Krause, Madsen Amick, and Alice Krige. But this movie also has some amazing cameos from Ron Perlman, from Stephen King himself, of course, because he wrote the screenplay for this damn thing. Even Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, shows up in the very beginning of this movie, and I got excited because I was like, that's Mark Hamill. Oh my god, Mark Hamill is in this movie. This is gonna be a great time. Spoiler alert, he is only in like the first 3 minutes and never shows up again. He only shows up to introduce us to a screaming dead body that knows how to do jump scares and introduces us to a house with a bunch of lynch cats on the outside. So, Dr. Camp, who gave me the PayPal recommendation and the donation, first off, I would say I am so thankful and so humbled by your contribution to this channel, you watching this and thinking, wow, I want to support that guy. Can't thank you enough. That being said, though, there are animal deaths and animal cruelty in this movie, in particular, cats being killed. So whenever that happens, and it's a recommendation, I have to give you the obligatory fuck you. I do love and respect you, Dr. Camp. I promise, I do, but I just don't like watching movies where I watch dogs and cats being crushed to death, even though it's done in a very comedic manner in this movie. I still gotta give you the fuck you, though. Oh my god, this movie had everything. But if any of you out there also want to help contribute and support me on this channel, you can be like Dr. Camp and make a PayPal donation by clicking on the donate button on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can for you and give you a nice little shout out. But just know, if your movie does have any animal cruelty or any animal deaths like this one, you do get the obligatory fuck you. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the masterpiece that is Sleepwalkers. Oh god. Charles and Mary Brady have recently moved into town from Paradise Falls, Ohio. And as we're introduced to their characters, we get the sense that, oh, hey, their relationship is not entirely platonic. But when they're not smooching and having sex with each other, Charles Brady goes off and tries to win the heart of local pretty girl Tanya. But as Charles gets closer to Tanya, more people around the town start to suspect that something is up with Charles Brady. So the movie becomes a horrific masterpiece, with Charles and Mary trying to suck the life force out of Tanya so that they are fed and can move on with their lives of having sex with each other. Oh god. Oh god, where to start with this? Have I said thank you enough to Dr. Camp for recommending this movie? Wow, I haven't laughed this hard at a film that was so terrible, really ever since, I want to say, The Fanatic and also Room, the Tommy Wiseau masterpiece that sparked the actually great picture Disaster Artist. I want there to be a Disaster Artist book about this movie. Is there one? If there is one, please tell me in the comments. I am buying that shit and I am reading it. Oh my god. There has to be. There has to be something. No one in their right mind who is a filmmaker was watching the dailies of this movie saying, yep, this is brilliant. And you had to think that that was happening because you watch this movie and everyone is taking themselves way too seriously. Alice Krige, who I really know as the Borg Queen from Star Trek First Contact, she is overacting and over-dramatizing everything in this movie to the nth degree. I guess kudos on her for trying, because as an actor, it's your job to take a script, and especially when it's a bad script like this one, and try to elevate it into something that is okay and something that is good. So you could tell that she's trying. What's happening, though, is that the trying comes across As Tommy Wiseau saying, "Oh, hey, Mark, what a great story, Mark." She gives him a run for his money. Before we get started, I will say there are going to be massive spoilers here. We're going to go through this entire film because it's amazing. You've been warned. Usually when I do these reviews, I go off of the top of my head because whatever is really prominent about the film is going to stay prominent in here until I record it. But with this movie, I had to take notes because there was just so much in here that I need to comment on. So let's just get into it. I've already talked about the opening with the cats being hung outside of trees and branches, and you know me, I have 4 cats here. You've seen a couple of the cats on a couple of my reviews. Go back and more recently watch my What Lies Beneath review. You get to see my oldest cat, Max, who's about 15. He's a polydactyl with his thumbs. He's adorable. I love cats. I love dogs too. I'm more of a dog person. So to see these pets and these animals just being hung outside a tree, it angers me. And then when we go to present day and we see the Bradys hanging in their house and all these cats walking around outside trying to avoid all of these live traps, it puts me on edge. I go, no harm needs to be done to these animals. But don't fret, because we kind of forget about all of that, because in the first 5 minutes here, we get introduced to these 2 characters who seem to be, husband and wife, a very young couple. They seem madly in love with each other. They are dancing to a nice little jazz piece in their house. And then all of a sudden, Charles Brady goes, "Oh, mother." Huh? Okay, that's not unheard of. A mother and son dancing, that's fine. They just love each other. They have a different type of oh my god, they do have a different type of relationship. They start making out, and eventually Charles sweeps Mary off of her feet and takes her up to the bedroom. It was at this point that I stopped the movie, just to kind of get myself in the right mindset of, do I really want to continue with this? It was a PayPal recommendation, so I was being paid to actually see this, so I made the decision to keep going. And for the majority of the time, I was thinking, thank God I did. But as we'll see in a couple seconds here, I was kind of regretting it. Because we cut to Charles now going to the movies to try to swoon Tanya, who is a local pretty girl who is welcoming the new kid Charles to the neighborhood, and then he comes back from the movies, and guess what? We get another scene, in case we didn't realize what was happening before, we get another scene with Charles making out with his mother. And then a couple minutes later, we actually cut to seeing them actually having sex. Because we weren't getting the sense that that was happening, we just needed to see it. But I guess we also get to see their reflection in the mirror, and we see their real true forms, because they're sleepwalkers, which I guess are the pre-vampires or the originators of vampires, where vampires come from. They feed off of life forces and they shapeshift, which I guess vampires do as bats. But in here, they can turn themselves invisible. They can turn their cars into a different car to hide themselves. God, Stephen King, eh? That's great. I may be in the minority, but I think a lot of Stephen King's writings, which I have read a few of, I think he's a little overrated. Might have just lost everyone there who turned into this review, so sorry, bye everybody. But I'm gonna keep talking about this masterpiece of a movie. So it's revealed that Charles is actually going after Tanya, not because he is infatuated with her, but because his mother needs to feed on what I'm guessing is Tanya's life force. Why it has to be her, who the fuck knows? But in terms of story here, it has to be her. And we have more scenes of Charles going to school and reading poetry and talking to his language arts teacher, who is very, very abusive. The teacher pulls Charles over, hunts him down, and says, "Yeah, I looked at your school transfer records, and they're impressive, but they're not real. I don't know what you're all about, but in order for me to keep it a secret, we can exchange a couple of services." And he reaches in to touch his penis, and Charles takes his hand and breaks it off. And he says,
people really should learn to keep their hands to themselves. Here's yours.
And the acting performance from this teacher, grabbing his own hand and going, "What, what, what?" Thank you. Thank you so much for this film. So he goes off and what seems to be feeds off of this teacher. Didn't steal any life force, literally just ate him. And then he gets into a speeding contest with the local cop, who is always singing some type of weird, inappropriate song to his cat, Clovis, who rides along with him. And as they're riding, they pull up next to Charles, and Charles sees the cat, and we have this amazing, brilliant CGI visual effects scene. That happens. Why? I don't know. But we've, as the audience, finally realized, wow, this person is weird. And so he evades the cop and finally goes off on a date with Tanya to a cemetery because that's romantic. And it's there that Charles tries to steal Tanya's soul, and the cop that he was in a speeding contest with shows up and he shoves a pencil in his ear, but that doesn't kill him, even though the pencil is like lodged into his brain. And we have this amazing kill scene. The reason I'm showing clips in here is because my description is not doing this film justice. So Tanya is now all freaked out, but she's in police custody, and she goes home, and there's a cop waiting there just to protect her. But during the whole original scuffle, Tanya did injure and almost kill Charles, who makes it back to his mother, and his mother is now going out for revenge and goes to find Tanya, and takes out the cop with a corn cob. I just said that out loud. Stabs him in the back with a corn cob, which I didn't know was actually possible. But apparently if you put it in the right spot, in the right place in your back, you die. I don't know, whatever. Mary takes Tanya back to the house, forces Tanya to dance with Charles, but ends up killing him anyway. And then Mary gets into her true form and goes all crazy, and then all of these cats break in. This is where we get the cat violence and cats being, broken in two, and I don't like that, Dr. Camp. But then she's overwhelmed by all these cats on the outside of her house to where she spontaneously combusts for some reason. And that is the end of this movie. It's confusing that someone was looking at it going, you know what? Yes, let's do this. We're gonna green light it, and we're gonna watch the dailies and go, yup, we are printing this motherfucker. I will say, though, I do like the cover of this movie. I mentioned it in my last review that I remember seeing this VHS in a small little video rental store in our grocery store when I was a little tiny kid. And hell, there was probably even a large poster on the wall. I just remember seeing the purples and the black clouds and this little house and all these cats kind of crawling and running towards it. I like the poster. It's creepy. What the cats have to do with the story and with the Sleepwalkers, I don't know. Sadly, we never got a sequel to this story for us to find out, oh, where do these creatures come from? Honestly, I don't care. We don't need a sequel. This film is quite enough. It's a masterpiece all on its own. This is the definition of it's so bad, it is great. If you're going into this wanting to find a horror film that you are invested in, that crawls under your skin, and to see brilliant acting, this is not that movie. But if you want just a terrible film that you can make a drinking game out of, or just sit back and laugh hysterically at the insanity that went behind creating this movie, this is the film for you. Here it is, Dr. Camp. I'm gonna give Sleepwalkers 5 out of 5 mammograms.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
Now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next. So let's pick from the list of all the horror and Halloween films that either I own or have been recommended to me over the years. So let's take a look. Mandy! Ooh, that is Nicolas Cage. I got the Mandy. It's right there. Hey, you see it? Oh, son of a bitch. I'm going to have to crawl in there and get it through this mesh. God damn it. But this is a movie that came out, I think, very recently, and I've heard so much about. Never actually seen it, but again, it's one of those that I buy and it just kind of sits there, but we'll finally get to watch it next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do. Just attach your movie recommendation with your donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, give you a shout out on the channel, and get my review of it published as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, if you've seen the film Sleepwalkers, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you on the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Mandy. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.